Bracken Darrell, our next speaker, is giving back because his daughter is here at Northwestern. Bracken's a fascinating guy. He's the president and the CEO of Logitech. He's responsible for their strategy for growth and profitability. And prior to joining Logitech, he spent time at Whirlpool, at P&G, and General Electric. He did his bachelor's from Hendrix College and met Mike when they were doing their MBAs at Harvard. And I really do owe him a great big thanks because right after this talk, he's got to get back to O'Hare, jump on a plane, and go back to California. So I'm just delighted that Bracken was able to join us.
I'm going to go a little off script for a second, and you know, as people have talked about their backgrounds, I should start with mine, which is I am an English major, and proudly an English major, in an engineering world. I have no idea, Matt, what 833 milliliters of displacement means in Japan, but I can wax very poetically about it. I want to just take a second and go through a few of the last few speakers. You know, when I saw actually the schedule, I want to thank her for putting Matt first. It reminded me when I went back to my alma mater, I went to a small school in Arkansas, Hendrix College. I was asked to come back to a presentation on careers, and it was me, and at the time I was working for Procter & Gamble, and I was brought back with another guy who was an actor, and he had just gotten his own show in Hollywood. He was called Herman's Head. Anybody heard of it? It was a very small-time hit, but he was a celebrity. So we got there. He spoke first. He was first on the agenda like Matt. He talked about all the celebrities he knew. He kind of named them one by one, unlike Matt. Although I have to say he did mention a few things. And by the time he finished, the entire crowd was completely mesmerized with Bill Ragsdale. I got up next, and I opened my presentation by saying, "My name is Bracken Darrell. I'm the head of the deodorant business." When they finished the presentation, there were 20 questions. He got 19. I got one, and it was from Bill, just to be nice. I also wanted to say quickly to Hugh, you notice I got up during the break. It was a personal emergency. And I did notice in the bathroom that Kohler is well represented.
It's the Barden urinal. It's a great product.
Perfect. I wanted to say to Bob, by the way, I hope you enjoyed Bob as much as I did because I live now in Silicon Valley. I love this entrepreneurial engine of Silicon Valley. Bob, you are a perfect representative of it in so many ways, both your venture capital background, your strategy background, and your small company, your startup, which is really exciting. I do want to tell you personal opinion. I can't speak for President Shapiro, but I'm a little worried about your children's chances of getting into Northwestern after you used both fugly and badass in a presentation.
Engineering.
Okay, I wasn't sure exactly what it meant, for the record. I have another son coming in a few years. In case you're wondering. I do work at Logitech. Logitech is about a $2 billion business. We're a very global business. A lot of us think of us of our company as the PC peripherals company, but we're a lot more than that, as you'll see in a second. But what I'm going to do is take you through kind of a work in progress on what we're doing right now in design. So think of this as a practitioner, if you can call me that, and the team I work with, really remaking what we are all about at Logitech in design, leveraging our past for building into the future. But I had to start, we call it the Logitech DNA. I had to start with my own DNA, which is my daughter, who's up in the back, and with her boyfriend and her friend, because I think great design really takes a lot of nurturing. Now, I said that, and Matt, who knows me very well, made sure to point out that you didn't have anything to do with the design except the very beginning, Bracken. It was your wife who did virtually everything, and there's a lot of truth to that, as Blair knows. You know, we work in a very I think Morton started by saying, you know, we're in a very competitive marketplace where, you know, the old ways just are not working. They're slowly losing their power, and the new way is about design. You know, I loved Matt's comment about The Graduate and the word plastics, and I think you know, if you had if they were filming The Graduate today, they did the remake, I think the word would be design. You know, that's the new future, and it's an incredibly exciting place. You know, you can see this is just a picture of kind of the mice that you would see, which is our biggest category today, but will quickly become not as big as many of the businesses we're in. But that's a picture of what it looks like when you go into stores. So our fundamental philosophy is, and this ought to sound familiar. I think is it Julio talked about, you know, or someone talked about, Herb talked about his background in both art and science, or as Steve Jobs called it, technology and the liberal arts. You know, this is kind of what we're trying to do now, and I think it's not unique. In the world of high tech, I would say everybody needs to go there. It's an absolute imperative. So it's not going to be about whether this is right or wrong. It's going to be about how well we execute it. You know, so why, the reason we're using the word art is not because we think that we ought to be creating art pieces. It's because the nice thing about the word art is that it also means it's good and it lasts. Looking back, it's still good. It's fundamentally good, lasting design. So that's what we're after. On the science side, we have, you might, if you don't know us well, you probably don't realize what a science-driven company we are. We have a team of engineers on three different continents. We have a big operation in Lausanne on a campus of EPFL, which is a big engineering school in Switzerland, a very good one. And that group does more work on engineering than you could believe, all types of engineering. This is a picture of a product that we have in the market right now. I would say from a design standpoint, it's okay. From a science standpoint, it's amazing. This is it has a solar panel on it. Basically, if you buy this folio cover for an iPad that has a keyboard in it, you never have to charge it. You don't have to replace the battery. It just permanently works off of ambient light. I couldn't help but put at least a few Apple pictures in here because it's had such an impact on Silicon Valley and on all of us who work in, you know, anything that approximates design or the world of durables manufacturing or software. You know, I am just continue to be impressed every time Apple launches a product by how much better it is than the last one. This is something that, how many people recognize that little picture up there? Okay. Any guesses what that is? Nirvana. It's the Nirvana Nevermind album cover. Now it's on a piece of, it's on what I think, and I could be wrong here, but it's on what I think is maybe the most customized product in the world. And we make it. We own a brand called Ultimate Ears, and that brand is based in Irvine, California. They serve the music industry, so a lot of the top musicians, we have a huge share of the total music industry. What happens is we make these earpieces, and a performance artist will put those in, and they wear them so that the sound engineer can tune out what they don't want to hear and tune in what they do want to hear. The product itself is so customized, it's actually done with a wax mold. It's then hand created all the way through the process, including hand shaped to be perfectly sealed. It's noise canceling. It's then the sound itself is monitored and perfected. So there's a dialing system where we look at all the different the sound patterns. So the artist himself or herself can ask for a certain level of bass and treble. And then, of course, we can customize the outside. And we did this with this picture because this is my cousin, Blair's uncle, I guess second cousin. As my cousin shot this picture, and we're now using it for some photography now. But it's an amazing business, and it's an example of how far you can take science into this world of design. This is what we're doing with that business. So we're now taking this same capability, which is essentially the capability to shrink components, take components to smaller and smaller sizes, and we're doing what's called acoustic density superiority. So we're bringing the strongest, best sound into a space. This is a product we launched about 6 months ago. It's a wireless speaker. How many people have wireless speakers in this room? Okay. Well, this is the future. So wireless speakers will completely take over your life. You will not have to plug them in. This is coming in a big way. So because we've been able to shrink the componentry, we've been able to get the strongest sound in the small space with this speaker, and we have a lot more coming. Now the next small, and I'll go relatively quickly through this, the next slice of my presentation is what are we doing? What are we communicating to our own people, and how are we thinking about and judging the design as we go forward? And it obviously all starts with the Consumer Foundation. I won't read these, but I'll step through them one by one. We have 6 different principles of design that we're evaluating all of our design against, and we're training all of our people in. The first one is one powerful idea. That might sound straightforward, but let me give an example of what I'm talking about. The one powerful idea post-World War II could have been, we're going to create, or somebody's going to create a small car. You know, remember, post-World War II, big families. The car is the thing of the future in the U.S. We're going to make a small car that gets good gas mileage that we can get our whole family in. It's a very powerful idea. You know, in our business, there's a big tendency to just pile on different concepts into a product. So you end up with a very complex product without one singular objective. Now that one powerful idea, though, which is the first principle, is not enough without a real fundamental idea. And to take the same analogy forward, you know, the VW Bug, against that powerful idea, you could have had a Honda Civic, you could have had a Cinquecento, could have had Smart, you could have a lot of cars, but this is a good example, of course, the VW Bug, of somebody taking that first principle of one powerful idea and launching a product that has a soul. And the soul that expresses itself through the layers of the product for us means, as Matt said, all the way from the fundamental design into the packaging, into the store, and of course the user experience. Now this goes back to my deodorant days. This was true at the time. I don't know if they're still doing that, but that's a pretty rigorous pursuit of science. But you know, this is obviously a big part of we're not going to lose that going forward, and we haven't. So we continue to advance the ball. We have what we call technology bazaars, where about every 6 months we have a group of elite engineers working on very, very advanced technologies. And in the spaces we work, there's some amazing things happening. And so they basically build it really is a bazaar. So it's we'll have 20 different new technologies and how they might be put into our products. We have presentations by them. We pull all the key people in. We have our designers in, and at the end, we make decisions on what we want to push forward with. And we move very, very fast on product development, much faster than you might think. You know, Matt, I think it was Matt mentioned this extraordinary care. You know, I used to run the Braun business globally. How many people know who Dieter Rams is? Yes, Dieter Rams. You know, I got to know him when I was there, and one of his 10 principles is this one: it's consequent to the last detail. And you know, I think we're in a world now where if you're not consequent to the last detail, you're probably not good design. This is almost going to be an absolute must for all of us. I know now today we look harder at the power cord, you know, at everything, the package, the inner package, the way we put use and care instructions into products. It's just become such an important thing. You know, this next one, we actually articulate this as you can always remove steps. You know, we're in our keyboards, for example, we're continuing to look for how do you remove every millimeter of motion for the user. And it's amazing what a difference you can feel when you buy a keyboard that's been really, really thought through and you buy one that hasn't. It's unbelievably noticeable. You know, the definition of magic, I don't know what the definition is, but it probably should be something like exceeding expectations to such a large degree that it really surprises you. And you know, this is an important principle in all of technology, and I think Samsung is actually really doing some amazing things there now. I'm going to close on just 2 things. One is, this is one of our latest products. This is a keyboard cover for the iPad. How many people have seen this one? A few of you. This is an example of how fast this business is moving. We're a $2 billion business. We were not in this business at all until we launched our first one our first product we launched 13 months after the original iPad. And it was an okay product. We basically sourced it. It was a decent design. We then really designed one and launched this one 7 months ago. It's now a $100 million, $100+ million business. And it's our largest selling product. It's number one in the category. And what we see now is the Mini's launched. So 10 weeks after the Mini launched, we launched our keyboard cover, and it's taken off. So this industry, and our business is changing so fast now as a result of this technology that it is really an amazing time to be there. So I'm going to stop there and just say, boy, it's been quite a good education so far. I'm looking forward to the Target presentation. And Patrick, I apologize for not mentioning you up front, but you haven't said anything yet. But I will say, we love you as a customer. I love you as a consumer. So you're next, I think.
That was great. Thank you.